Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Arif Rahman Hakim. I will share the story lifted from a comic story pieces that tell about the friendship of two different animals, dogs and cat. Not only the story, I will also provide conflict in the story and moral message in it. What happened in the story begins during a very bright day. There are two animals that are on the outside, which is a rondel, which is a bird, and pixie, which is a tiny cat. At the time, the rondel grabbed the cloth owned by pixie, who then rondel run into the middle of the road, followed by pixie, who pursued rondel to grab the cloth. When Rondell and Pixie ran from the next direction of the right, there was a very fast car. The driver who drove the car was surprised because in front of him was Pixie, who was almost hit by the car. Suddenly, there was a dog named Brutus who shouted by mentioning the name Pixie. Brutus swiftly saved Pixie, who almost got hit. Brutus finally ran and begged his head to Pixie, and finally Brutus being hit by car. The arrival of suddenly Brutus opened his eyes. He saw the figure of an angel shaped like a white cat animal. The angel said welcome to Brutus and is if greeting it very friendly in heaven. The angel said that heaven was a very beautiful and Brutus place shown by the figure of animal that live peacefully and peacefully even though the very. Brutus, which at the time was still a very amazed because in the place did not look human. Angels will longer told him that human did not enter heaven because they were too selfish. Brutus would still look confused, also asked Pixie, who was not seen in the place. Angels would told Brutus that Brutus has saved Pixie and Pixie is still on earth. Brutus, who is Pixie's best friend, is worried about the condition of Pixie, especially he will feel lonely and alone there. By feeling worriedly, Brutus questioned whether what the angel said was really serious or not. The angel told him that he was all the creatures in heaven had a stomach scoring mission by feeling resigned and surrendered to the Brutus apologies to the angels because Pixie will need Brutus, who will keep it on earth if Brutus does not exist and if Pixie is destroyed by Randall, who will help him. Angels who are thinking of Brutus' words then thought that Brutus is really a good child, and that's when the angels turned Brutus again to be able to meet again with Pixie on earth. Pixie, who killed Brutus named many times by pushing his feet to the Brutus head by asking for Brutus to wake up. Pixie, while apologizing to Brutus, constantly being brutally awoke. Unexpectedly, Brutus, who was originally dying, suddenly he opened his eyes and turned his gaze to Pixie. Brutus greeted Pixie and told him that he was fine and told him that he had just taken a nap, so Pixie felt calm. Even though Brutus he just been in a fortress paradise with angels and other animals. Pixie felt very touched and happy while making sure that Brutus was fine. Pixie apologized because Pixie thought he was wrong to cause Brutus to get hit and asked Brutus to forgive Pixie. Brutus again asked Pixie that was fine. Brutus said that this was all a pixie fault. Brutus then asked where the Randall. Then Pixie felt confused because the Randall ran very quickly and somehow ran where. Brutus confided Pixie that Brutus will always keep it even when he was disturbed by Randall, and Brutus promised to bring home the clothes stolen by Randall. Brutus and Pixie finally walked back to two friends who love each other and protect. From the story can be learned by mandats or wisdom to be used as a valuable life lesson that the difference does not make it a problem. It is precisely the difference is a beautiful thing to lose such a Brutish dog and Pixie a small cat. Like helpless, but they can both be mutual loving and just love each other. When Brutus is in heaven, a lot of difference between animals there, but they can coexist. We as humans do not be selfish. Animals can live harmoniously even though it is different. Humans should also be like that. Enough that I can tell me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
One day, there was a cat and the whistle. The cat named Pixie, while the whistle named Randall. Seeing the Pixie catching the Randall because the Randall tried to steal a soul from the Pixie, and seeing when the Pixie catches the Randall, a car passed on the street. It looked like the ruffian can escape a collision from a car, while the Pixie is likely to be hit by a car. When the Pixie is about to be hit by a car, the dog name is the Brutus. Seen the Pixie, and with thinking the Brutus approached the Pixie and the immediately protect him, and in the end it was the brute who was hit by a car. Suddenly the brute was dying. When he opened his eyes, he saw an angel in the form of the white cat. Then the brute was confused about where he was, and the angel said to the Brutus that the Brutus is now in heaven, and the Brutus asked the cat angel, "Why in the world there are no human?" And the cat angel answered, "Because humans here on average are too selfish, because they will never go to heaven." The Brutus asked the cat angel again, "Where is the Pixie?" And the cat angel answered, "The Pixie is still on the earth." And the Brutus is worried when the Pixie is still on earth. What is the Pixie is bullied by the Randall. And the Brutus apologized to the cat angel because si Brutus still need the Pixie who was on earth. And finally, the Brutus said goodbye to the cat angel to return to earth. And the cat angel agreed and was willing to return Brutus to earth. And the cat angel felt the dog was a good boy. At the time, the pixie called the name the Brutus many times by thrusting his head at the Brutus. And finally, the Brutus opened his eyes, and finally he released the pixie, who at the time felt sad. And finally, the pixie apologized to the Brutus because if you don't help the pixie will die like the Brutus. And the Brutus, who just woke up, doesn't tell the pixie that the Brutus is actually in suspense animation and has met many animal and angle. The Brutus said he was fine. The pixie was very happy because the Brutus had regained consciousness. Brutus also asked the condition on the randall where he was running. The pixie didn't even know and felt confused where the randall was. Pixie didn't even have to ask whereabouts of the randall. It was important that the Brutus was fine. Finally, they both left and they worked together and become good friends and will never be separated. From the story that I convert, there is a life lesson that different are beautiful with view from the story that the dog and the cat can be good friends. When I even everything is not the same, we as human can live fairly and don't care about different and hate selfish because human are social being who need other. Thank you for attention.